Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Monday night team Zoom. Today is March 23rd. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Hi, all. Hey, hey. We have a very special guest with us tonight. Oh gosh, you just can't. You can't take him anywhere, can you? All right, let's keep going here.
Well, literally, you shouldn't be taking him anywhere right now, anyways.
That's true. Well, he's actually seen patients, so he's really good.
But I'm a healthcare professional, and we're still allowed to do that. And I have mask, gloves, Lysol, and bad jokes. Come one, come all.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, we have the VP of Sales for North America, our very own Karen Reilley. Welcome, Karen.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to see you.
Everybody's clapping for you. We have our team trained very well, though they keep themselves muted unless they need to unmute. So,
very good.
Yeah, if you guys have some questions, you can put them into the chat section. But we have a couple questions that we wanted to ask Karen. The things that we've been getting from people. Karen, first, how are you? How is your family, and how's the ASEA family?
Well, my family personally is all well and good. Many of you know that I have a daughter who's married and has two little beautiful children, and they are all down in Vegas in the Summerlin area, so they're doing great. Most of my immediate family after that is actually here in Utah. Everybody's doing well. I think I have exhausted my group texting skills because now none of it makes any sense. But you know, we're staying connected and everybody's doing great. I have nieces and nephews all over the world. I have a couple of nieces. I have a niece in Manhattan. I have a niece in Abu Dhabi. I have a couple of nephews downtown Salt Lake. My daughter's in Vegas. So we've got family all over the world and everybody's doing great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
great.
How
Glad you're
about,
well.
yes.
Yeah, the ASEA family is impressive.
Wow.
Absolutely impressive. I'll share a little bit more on that later, but I will tell you that everybody is doing great. I don't know how many of you have heard or read the email that we sent out, but 2 weeks ago, the company sent an email to the staff and said, hey, you know, we're mindful. We sent an email to the field and, you know, we canceled some events, and we sent an email to the company and said, you know, working from home options, this, that, and the other. And, you know, within a few days, we sent another note, really pressing a little bit harder for folks to stay at home because people wanted to come to work. If they weren't feeling bad, if they didn't feel like, you know, if they didn't feel emotionally threatened by it or physically, they didn't feel any symptoms or anything, you know, people were just coming to the office and they just wanted to do a great job for you guys. Mm-hmm. So I start by saying I'm so impressed by the team that we have on the ground here at ASEA Corporate. They really are inspirational and they absolutely love what they do every single day.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we appreciate them. They're answering the phones. They're taking care of everything just like nothing is the matter.
Like if you didn't know, you would not know that every single person that you're talking to, emailing, texting, communicating with at ASEA is most likely working from home. The technical support that we have available for us right now, the platforms, the technology just allows this to be absolutely seamless. It's just incredible.
See, I didn't know that. I knew some were working from home, so mostly everybody is working from home. I did not know that. I did not.
Most everybody's working from home except for our production team. Of course, we make our own Redox technology products in the Redox Center, also in Pleasant Grove. And so we have made some shift changes, lowering the number of people that are coming in at any one time, but have extended those opportunities to run production longer in the days. And they are just loving it. You know, they're absolutely great. They're taking, you know, shorter shifts, but we are actually, it's so interesting. We are actually doing more production now. And so we were laughing the other day, you know, there's so much work happening. We've decided that we're just going to all work from home from now because we get a lot more done. So Chuck said, I get a lot. I said, Chuck, are you in the office today? He said, I said, what are you doing in the office today? He said, oh, he's like, I actually get more done without y'all here bugging me. So he was in the office, but nobody else was. So, we're having a great time. Everybody's doing great.
I have to say, if I worked in the production facility, that is one place where I would want to be during all
right?
that, surrounded by ASEA. It's like the cleanest production facility.
It's like the world's largest clean room.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you've never seen it, you guys, it literally is. I think one of the FDA
the inspector
had come in, and he said in 40 years he had never seen such a clean inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't blame them for wanting to be there working. They probably feel really safe.
Exactly. So you said that we're making more. So how has the demand been for ASEA globally?
Oh my gosh. It's been an absolutely incredible couple of weeks for ASEA. Every market is adjusting to the cultural needs, the governmental requests that are going out. We've got 5 regions around the world: North America, Latin America, we've got Asia, Asia Pacific, we've got Europe, and we've got all of this incredible support from all of the associates everywhere. And, this is an incredible time to be part of ASEA. It's an absolutely amazing technology that addresses so many specific needs for people at the foundational level, right? Whatever challenges your body is kind of going through, we have a product that supports that. And we have had record-breaking sales in all of our markets over the last 3 weeks.
I kind of figured that, because I know our numbers are up. People are ordering. People are coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, maybe I should be taking this product.
Absolutely. I heard a great quote today. Health is priceless, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
That's interesting, Foster, because I want to share a little bit later. I want to share a Chinese proverb. So that was very, very astute of you.
Thank you very much. Well, you know what? We have this special connection.
We do.
We do, which we won't talk about.
So
it's doctor-patient privilege.
Exactly. So it sounds like then the company is doing well. I know people are concerned. I've heard some people say that their orders are not arriving. And I think people are kind of counting days now instead of, I think they're like worried. How is the shipping process going here in the United States?
Well, I will tell you an interesting story about why there are some shipping delays in just a minute. But let me share this Chinese proverb story. It was shared with me several years ago, actually. And I don't know why, but probably about 3-4 months ago, it came to mind. And so I started doing some research around it. And I think it just keeps coming up and up. It keeps coming up over and over again. So here it is. This is the story. So there's a farmer and a son, and they have this beautiful stallion. And they use the stallion to earn money on their farm. And one day the horse runs away. And all of the neighbors gather around, and they're like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. What terrible luck. Your horse ran away. How are you going to make a living? This is awful. And the farmer says, well, maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. A few days later, the horse comes back, and he brings a dozen wild mares with him, right? And all of the neighbors come in, and they're like, oh my goodness, your horse has returned. He brought all these horses with them. What great fortune. This is amazing. And the farmer replies, well, maybe not. We'll see. Later in the week, the son is on one of these wild horses, and he falls and he breaks his leg. And the neighbors come back around, right? They're like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. We heard your son broke his leg. This is awful. We're so sorry. And the farmer says, maybe not. We'll see. And then a couple of days after the son breaks his leg, the military comes through. with mandatory military service requests, and they can't take the son because he's got a broken leg. So, you know, the son gets to stay back during this mandatory service period. And the neighbors come around and they say, oh my goodness, what good fortune, how lucky you are. This is great. And the farmer says, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So the moral of the story is you really have no control over about 98% of your world, right? You don't get to control things that are happening around you. But what you do get to control is how you respond to them. And this is a perfect story applied to this situation. You know, we start with this COVID-19 outbreak in Asia. We start tracking it around the world. We take a look at our infrastructure. Before we even knew as a company that we were going to be sending people home, we said, what if we have to send people home? We started looking at what are some of the unintended consequences of anything that's out of our control as this thing, you know, takes off and we don't know what's going to happen. And then, you know, like I said, we send people home, this, that, and the other. Well, oh my goodness. So the first Monday after we send that email out to the staff that says, hey, go home, we have a 5.7 earthquake here in Utah. And for those of you who have experienced earthquakes of that magnitude, I personally have been through 2 7.0 and 7.1 earthquakes living in California.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I personally, you know, I have a little PTSD around that. But here's the thing. Our production facility, unscathed, unscratched. Other than the emotional experience of going through that, you know, we've got racks that stack 8 pallets high, 10 pallets high. Those are bolted to the ground. Those are wrapped and double wrapped. And, you know, so those were swaying a little bit. We've got these huge, huge multi-thousand-gallon tanks bolted to the ground, wrapped, double wrapped, right? So when you start to tack on these things like the Chinese proverb and the farmer and his horse story, you know, we don't have a lot of control over what's happening with the COVID-19. We certainly didn't have any warning or any control over the earthquake, but it's how we choose to respond to those. So we had this earthquake and our 3PL that's here in Salt Lake actually had pretty significant damage to their space. So all of the product that gets shipped from Utah to the western states was immediately rerouted to our Memphis location the same day. So why can some people be experiencing product with a delay and some are not? That's why. So everything that's being shipped from our warehouse right now is coming out of Memphis. So those of you who are in the western states, basically everybody west of the Mississippi, is going to be receiving product from Memphis. So you can expect a couple of days of delay there. But you know, we're already looking at opportunities to make sure that we don't have any disruption, which is why our production numbers are so high, right? We want to make sure we already have several months of stocked product in all of our warehouses around the world. We don't feel that we're going to run into any inventory issues. But just like the farmer and his horse, we don't control ground transportation. And we certainly don't control the cargo ships coming in and out of China. But we are doing everything we need to do. We're doing everything in our control to make sure that orders are taken, orders are shipped, and orders are delivered. So, you know, it's an incredible time for us right now. And I love, love, love the Chinese story about the farmer and his horse, because it brings back to reality. Really, the only thing that we have control over is ourselves and how we respond to the things that are happening around us. And, you know, now that we're all home, we've got an interesting opportunity, right? We have to look at the intended and the unintended consequences of what's happening right now. So we can talk about that in a little bit. But Terry, that's probably a little bit more of an answer to your why are people getting a delayed shipment, but I wanted to share that story, so thanks for indulging me.
You answered, I mean, that was part of it. So that you actually answered all of that question. I think that that puts it at ease for me, I'm comfortable. But what you were talking about kind of leads into my next question, Karen, is if you were an associate, what would you be doing right now?
Oh,
yes.
wow. That's fantastic. There's, I'm going to answer that without any associate experience, but I'm going to take the word associate out of it for a minute, because right now, I think the most important thing that's on my heart to share with everybody is what are the things that you need to be focusing on to be successful during this time of uncertainty, during this time of question and curiosity about what's going to happen next. So look, I did not start to panic until I realized that my nail salon had shut down.
I know, me too.
That's it, folks. I mean, that's, I cancel Envision, cancel Ascent, cancel Bali. I get it. I mean, it makes sense. But now you are just absolutely messing with my whole identity, right?
That's what I said to
my nails are my identity. But it started me thinking about this. What are we going to be doing over the next how long? Because I don't know, 2 weeks, 2 months, who knows, to maintain not only our personal self-care, but the care of everyone in our world and those that might need someone to be reaching out to them. I was talking with a good friend of mine earlier today, and we were brainstorming, like, what are some of the unintended consequences that can be created because of this. And the truth is, it got into a pretty deep discussion about the impact that this could have on literally generations if we don't take more time to be mindful. So, you probably heard me say in the past, if you've ever been on a plane, you've heard the flight attendants say, in case of an emergency, oxygen masks will drop. Put your own oxygen mask on first before you try and help someone else, right? Why is that? Well, because you can't help anyone else if you can't breathe. So let's take a minute and let me just share what I put together. And I've kind of been just looking online and different things, but these are the 10 things that kind of stuck out for me as important pieces to remember about working from home or being, quarantined in this social containment kind of process that we're all in. I mean, we've seen restaurants shut down their dine-in options. We've seen some small businesses completely close. We've got to find ways to continue to interact. So number one, I think it's funny that some people say, I work from home. And a lot of people will say, oh, what a great life you have. That must be so nice, da, 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 without actually recognizing what it means to actually work from home. Working from home doesn't mean you get to sleep in and, do a load of laundry in your pajamas and have, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, 3 meals a day. I love me some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But you can't eat it all day long, right? So the first thing that I wanted to share was give yourself a routine. I think that one of the biggest challenges that folks face when anything changes, anything changes in their life, whether, right now, if there are those that, you're in this position or you have a loved one in this position or just someone that in your community. We get up, we get dressed, we go to work, we interact, we go home, we do dishes, we do laundry, that kind of thing. It's a routine. So now that you are most likely full-time, kind of at home, you should create a routine. Write it down, right? Set that alarm clock. I mean, my favorite days are the days I don't have an alarm clock, but those should be sporadic. Those should be on my own. If I don't have a personal internal alarm clock that gets me up, at the same time every day, set a routine. Know where you're going to work, right? Know what's happening in your home so that you can have this safe space where that routine can be executed. So you're making that home office, you're making that personal space. It may be that you don't have extra space in your home to have that routine where you're working from home. So sit down as a family unit and have this discussion. Hey, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the kitchen table is my office. And I need y'all to respect my routine and know that these 2 hours are for me to do whatever I need to do, whether it's your full-time job, your part-time job, whether it's ASEA, whether it's your community service, whether it's your ecclesiastical service, whatever that is. If you're going to work from home, have a routine and have that set space so that as yourself and as your family unit knows, that's the routine, right? That's her space, that's his space, and be respectful of that with one another. The second thing is, look, I am so guilty of this. I happen to have an extra bedroom in my home, so I have an office at home where I can, close the door and get my private space here. But let me tell you, I got really claustrophobic working at home. It was a darker room. It only had one light. So I recently had shutters added instead of windows or instead of blinds, because when I had the blinds closed, it was really dark. When I had the blinds fully open, it was way too bright, the way that the sun hits this window. So I had shutters put on. So make that space something that's comfortable for you as well. So here's the second thing that I'm super guilty of. You got to get up, you got to shower, you got to put clothes on. Now, I'm not trying to say I was guilty of not putting clothes on or showering or getting up, but understanding that doing all three of those things in a routine, like I might get up, right, have a cup of coffee and do this or do that, do the laundry. But I wasn't combining those into, getting up, showering, putting on clothes as if I was going to work, because this is, a lot for ladies, but men, you still need to get up and shower and put clothes on. But, when you go out into the world or you're on a Zoom call like this, you've got your hair done, right? You put some lipstick on, but it's so easy for us to not do that when we don't think that we're going to be in front of somebody. It's so easy for us to say, I'm not going to see anybody today. I can just do the ponytail and this kind of a thing. But have you ever stopped to think about how you feel when those things are not happening, right? How do you feel when you haven't had a shower in a couple of days, when you're still in your sweatpants from Tuesday? That it changes the entire way that you interact with your email, with your Instagram, with your Facebook. Everything that you do, all of your energy is going to change when you've got a routine and you are prepared for that routine, which is getting up and showering and putting on clothes on. Now, you don't have to, put on a suit by any means, but, it's not a bad thing to make yourself prepared every day so that you feel great about yourself, right? So that you feel, I call it feeling fierce, right? Somebody asked me, well, what should I wear? She's a presenter at Envision. What should I wear for Envision? And I said, do you have anything in your closet that makes you feel fierce? She sat up and she put her shoulders back. She's like, oh yeah. And her husband piped up and said, it's the blue dress, isn't it? And she said, oh yeah. So get up, take a shower, get yourself ready for the day, put that routine in place.
Make your bed and make your bed.
Make your bed. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing that's really easy to do. And I do this all the time, and I do it in the office or out of the office. And I've had to pay really close attention to it lately. And it changed for me about 6 months ago, but don't eat and work at the same time. Don't, and again, this is stuff that I found online that I just found, these are the 10 that were really kind of personal for me. When you work, you work. When you eat, you eat. When you rest, right? So one of the things that I think that we can do while we're all working from home is get really, really clear and hone our ability to get focused, right? Stay focused on the task at hand. This is part of that routine. If you're going to work from 10 to 12, take a break from 12 to 12:30. Even if it's just to make a sandwich and eat the sandwich sitting at the kitchen table, or, if you want to turn on the, TV or whatever, but that 30-minute meal time is your body's time to process what it's doing for you. Eating over the sink, no bueno, right? Eating over the kitchen counter, no bueno. Our bodies are incredible, incredible machines. They are sensing tens of thousands of things every time they, every second, right? So give yourself a break and don't try and do everything at once. Get that routine set in place, dedicate certain times for very specific activities. So
Find
that's
balance.
another one.
I think
What was that?
balance is important as
So
well.
important.
Find that balance, because I think I'm finding myself, I think we're all doing things to bind our anxiety, doing different things, and that pendulum is swinging where we were here and now it's going this way, it's going this way. We're trying to find our way. And I think so, like you're saying, find that balance.
Yeah.
That yes, work, but also take care of yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's the routine piece that is number one for me, right? Because when you get set in that routine, and it doesn't have to be, I think people hear these things and they feel like, well, you know, where do I start or what do I do? Just start where you can. Don't just start at number one, start at number 4. I don't care. Throw a dart at it, right? Make yourself a list on this kind of a thing. And pen and paper is great. Word document is great. An Outlook calendar, day planner, whatever you like, that's where you start. And then it's about prioritizing, right? It's about prioritizing what to do. I don't know if anyone on the line is a full-time at home. That's where you spend all your time, right? Whether it's your full-time job, whether it's ASEA, whether it's you're taking care of the family or a loved one. But if you really spend a majority of your time working in the home, prioritizing should be important, because we are all, you know, we're still on deadlines. We still have things that we need to get done at certain times, and things to, you know, assignments to turn in, and, you know, students and whatever. But prioritize. What do I do now? Is a really interesting emotional question. Right? If you're feeling really, really overwhelmed, the best place that I have found for me when I get that way is I literally turn everything off. I turn off my computer. I turn off my, you know, I turn off my phone. I turn off the TV. I turn off the music. I turn everything off and I sit down with a pen and paper and I just start to mind map. I'm sure you've heard of that, right? You start with a blank piece of paper and you can either, you know, start doodling in the middle and circling and kind of mind mapping from there, or you just start making a list, right? And I'm not writing full sentences. I'm just prioritizing everything that is creating stress or a sense of overwhelm for me. And I just write it down, right? Being 6 hours for my daughter, being 6 hours for my grandkids, being 6 hours for my, you know, whatever that might look like. And it does two things. Number one, it allows you to dump it out. Right? It just allows you to get it out of your brain space. It also allows you to look at it and then prioritize it. Actually, you know, this isn't as important. You know, getting the house is a mess. Got to do the laundry, got to do the dishes, got to do this, got to do that, got to do this. And then you kind of look at it for a second after you've taken, and it takes like less than 5 minutes. And I always laugh at myself when I'm done with that piece of paper. Sometimes it's really short and I'm like, why am I so stressed out? And sometimes it's really long and I say, no wonder I'm so stressed out. But regardless of the response I have, it always gives me an opportunity to go through and say, actually, these are the most important things for me right now. And I just simply prioritize it. And here's the key for me. I don't have to prioritize the entire list. If I had 30 things on that piece of paper, I only prioritize maybe up to 5. Because I look at that list and once I have those 5 things done, I can either revisit the list, or I have now completely eliminated that overwhelming, stressful emotion of I don't know where to start. What do I do next? Where should I go? What should I do? Because now it's on paper and I take those 5 things and I'm off to the races. So prioritizing your day, prioritizing your activities is something that I would absolutely recommend that you do. I am a music junkie. One of the things that I love about being able to have music on the go is it really gets to set my mood.
Mhm.
And so, right now there's a lot of unknowns right now. There's a lot of anxieties right now. But if you think about what you can control and what you can't control, maybe it's good fortune, maybe it's not, right? Maybe that earthquake wasn't good fortune. Maybe it was. Maybe, COVID-19 is going to have a consequence down the road that we're going to look at either in our generation or the next generation and say, you've heard the blessing in disguise kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But what I do know is that personally, if I am allowed to get sucked into that list of unprioritized things in the silence, it can be paralyzing for me. So that, we're all working from home, we're all trying to keep our social distancing kind of a thing, but set your mood, right? It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be on all the time. But if you've got a routine and you're sitting down to eat a meal and you just want to relax, put something nice and relaxing on. Pull up your Spotify, pull up your Amazon Music, turn on the radio, put on a record. I don't know what you have, but do play something. But here's the other thing. Do you play a musical instrument, right? Set the musical mood with your talent as well. Do you like to hum? Do you like to sing? Those kinds of activities change our brains, right? I don't play a musical instrument, and I love to just surf music genres. So I have music on almost all the time, at some level, at some point during the day. And it absolutely changes my mood. And I think if you're a music person, or even if you're not a music person, just give it a try. Just see how it changes the atmosphere. See how it changes the mood. The other thing, go ahead.
You're absolutely right. I'm the same way with music. It totally sets my mood. And he caught me the other day. I was in, I think, cleaning the bathtub. I was just going and going. And I turn around and he's just staring at me, but he had a big smile on his face. It was like, it really does. It makes everything a little bit easier, more fun.
It does.
If you're cleaning the screens from the living room because it made her feel better, that was the priority at that moment, but she had the music going.
Yep.
Hey, you know what? If she's got an hour a day for house cleaning, you go, girl. You go clean those screens. You get that toothbrush out and get those windowsills down.
You have no idea.
Right? Whatever you need to do, that's the point of having that routine, right? You don't have to have a specific action item in that time, but if 7 to 8 is your workout time, if a workout for you is get outside, go to the gym, and my gym is closed, so I've got to figure something else out. Right? So, whatever that means for you, I love music in my life. The other thing is destroy distraction. We as a culture, as a society, have somehow become responsible to beeps, rings, buzzes, and chimes. We become this responsive culture, right? Something beeps and all of a sudden you're like, squirrel. If that's something that you struggle with, and I do, my phone has email, it has text messaging with 3 different apps, with WhatsApp and just regular texting. It's got, of course, phone calls. It's got all kinds of alerts for meetings and notifications and this thing is going off all day long. And I can get sucked into the vortex so fast. It goes off and I'm like, oh, I need to respond to them. I need to respond to them. I need to respond to them. And then all of a sudden, all I'm doing is reactionary work. Why? Because I'm completely distracted, because I've got all of this stuff coming in and I'm not able to focus on the task at hand or the job that I'm trying to do or a project that I'm trying to work on. So you've got to destroy distractions. Now, that's just a technology distraction. When I am working on a project, oftentimes I will actually shut down my email. I won't even open it, because when my email is open, I've got these alerts, right? It keeps telling me. So my email's open and all of a sudden an alert pops up. Hey, there's a message from Chuck. There's a message from Tyler. There's a message. Oh, I got to check. Well, guess what? I don't have to do it right then. And neither do you. If you are distracted with everything that you're doing, not only does the project take longer, but I can guarantee you from my own personal experience that it's not going to be the same quality as if you were completely without distraction. And this goes for children and pets and technology and the front door and the back door and whatever, you know, wherever people can kind of come in and create that distraction for you. So you've got to again, set that routine where you've got just your time to do work or to do, you know, XYZ, and, you know, destroy that distraction. The other thing that's really important as we are all working through this new process is, again, that routine. It always comes back to this routine for me, which is you've got to have specific times where you're working and when you're not working. You've got to have downtime. If you are completely out of balance and 12 hours a day, all you're thinking about is, you know, one thing, everything else is absolutely going to be challenged. You know, neglecting the house, neglecting yourself, neglecting the family, and it's not, you know, for any other reason than you just haven't been able to manage, you know, turning off that little switch in your brain that gets you through the day that says, this is my time for family, and during family time, I'm not going to have those things that are distracting me. I'm just going to be focused here. And you're also giving yourself some self-care, right? Because the brain can only process so much information. And then you just kind of get that overwhelming. And I don't know about anybody else, but when I'm overwhelmed, I'm just like, okay, time out, shut down. Like nothing gets done well. And it really starts to impact how I feel about myself, because I'm not giving what I know I can, because I'm just stretched so thin, because I just cannot seem to, you know, categorize. So when you work. When you're not working, you're out of that routine, you're out of that time window, put it away, turn it off, turn off the lights. Don't carry your phone around checking your buzzes, your bings, your chimes, and your rings. So that's another thing too. You know, something else that I have found over the last couple of weeks is you got to get outside. So I know that Terry, your question was specific to what would I be doing if I was an associate right now. Before I got down to that task list of what I would do as an associate, I would make sure that I had my routine set, getting up, showering, taking care of myself, getting my workout in, make sure that I have set my time during the day so that I've got no distractions or as little as possible. I've got some great music on, keeping me upbeat. And the only thing that I'm paying attention to is my little piece of paper that says this time is, you know, this block and this block and this block. And I'm trying to be as dedicated to that as possible. But something that's been really important for me is just to get outside. You know, it's interesting. I love our office. Absolutely great. Only thing that's not great is, you know, I spend an hour to an hour and a half on the road every day. So I thought, oh, it'd be so nice not to have that commute. But isn't it interesting that I lost that outside experience where I turn my music up really loud, I roll the windows down, I open the sunroof, and I just let the day kind of soak in and you know, embrace me. And I hadn't had that. It was really interesting. I was like, why do I miss driving? Right? Why do I miss, you know, but it was the fact that I missed being outside. I missed the nice little walk that I would take, you know, parking as far away from the front door as possible. So I got a little exercise getting in and out of the office. And then, you know, going to lunch with people is so great. I miss being outside. So get outside as well. So I don't know, Terry, if I've got a couple more minutes, I'll share a couple specific things. But of course, this whole social distancing thing, I get it. I respect it. I'm part of the social distancing movement. But here's the thing. If you go back to hierarchies, the Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, we have to have community. And so we are faced right now with an interesting opportunity is how do we create community without, you know, in that 6-foot rule or without violating anybody else's space, particularly in our at-home business model theories. And it's all going to come down to picking up the phone, calling people, texting people, the social media interactions that you have. And I know that can be kind of scary for folks, but I'll tell you this: be brief, be brilliant, and be gone. Any of those interactions that you're having, they don't have to be explanations. They can be quick shout outs, right? You're going in to look at something that makes you smile. Say that on the tag, right? Say that on the message. Hey, thanks for this post. It really brought a smile to my face today. And then maybe post something out there that's on your heart. I would encourage you to use social media as an opportunity to be authentic, to be genuine, to be compliant, and leverage it as a new learning, a new skill. You know, there's all kinds of stuff out there right now that says, hey, look, as long as you're working at home, learn a new language, learn a new skill, spend some time thinking through your business plan, spend more time with the family, those kinds of things. But embrace the opportunity, embrace the unintended consequences of a 5.7 earthquake, of COVID-19, of, you know, whatever is happening in your world right now. Take a minute and recognize that, again, don't pass judgment on whether it's good fortune or bad fortune. Just take it as an opportunity to embrace something new, or to think about a new relationship that can be developed, but definitely keep yourself connected. So the number one thing I would do if I were an ASEA associate right now is I would stay absolutely connected to the ASEA world, right? You're logging in to the In Touch calls the first, second, and third Tuesday of the month. You're logging in to your team calls on Monday nights. Jump on someone else's team call, right? I mean, expand where your circle of influence is. But here's the thing. Recognize that while you're on those calls, while you're listening and being educated and being inspired, what are you going to do to pay it forward? Because it's awesome for all of us. Hey, Polly T, it's awesome for all of us to share with that close group of our teams, right? It's awesome that you guys are here tonight. But how are you going to pay it forward? You don't necessarily have to call somebody on your team and say, well, I noticed you weren't on the call tonight, right? What else you got to do? What you're calling to say is, hey, I noticed you weren't on the call tonight. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Right? You're not passing judgment. You're getting really curious about where other people are right now. And I mentioned earlier that I was on the phone with a good friend of mine earlier today, and it was a pretty heavy discussion. And she and I have struggled with depression in our lives. And that was one of the points that we talked about, and that we committed to each other, that we would, while neither one of us were concerned about each other, we started talking about people in our lives that we have no reason to believe that they struggle with this, but I don't think anybody would think I struggled with it either. And we started talking through what we were going to do as besties to reach out to other people and make sure that everyone in our world was doing okay, because it's an unintended consequence of being or becoming what you would call or consider yourself as ostracized or shut in or recluse. And we want to make sure that we take the opportunity to reach out to others and know where they are with all this. I just got a text from a friend before this call started. She's like, hey, this is the text exactly. I need to get out of the house. You want to go for a walk? Of course I do. Absolutely. So take this time to reach out to your circle of influence, or those that are on your heart or your mind, and without any judgment or expectation, send them a text, send them a voicemail, send them an email, get connected with them so that not only they know other people are thinking about them, but that they have something to look forward to, right? So those are the things that I would be doing as an associate: staying compliant, staying connected, and recognizing that I have control over literally nothing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you know, Karen, just to add on with the, you know, staying connected to people. I saw somebody else doing it. We did it yesterday with our family. We did a Zoom, and we have 4 daughters from, you know, 30 to 25, and 2 like, oh, I only have my phone. I don't have it. I literally sent a link and said, click here. You know, I said zoom.us. You can have your own account. You can have 10 people. You can stay on for an hour. You can start a new one. And our girls were like, yeah. So we jumped on. We did a family Zoom. So instead of like, you know, I think we can be more connected. We're talking more to our daughters right now in this time. And I think it's really important because people are feeling isolated, as you're saying. So it's, you know, it's a different time. So I think Zoom is a great way to do it.
I'm seeing all of these awesome comments come in, Terry and Foster. I don't know if you're reading these, but
yes.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to just address a couple of them. Omar says he's going to miss eating over the kitchen sink. I get it. I get it. You don't need napkins, but you can't buy them in the store now anyways. No.
They're on the toilet paper aisle.
That's not at my store. But yeah, it's awesome. And Lorraine brings up a good point. She says in her area, she's in Quebec, they are actually being asked not to even go outside. They're being asked to be completely 100% confined in the home. So, I mean, the first thing that I thought of when I read that was right here, my shutters, right? Open the windows. Mm-hmm. Oh, bring in that sunlight.
That's why I was washing the windows and the screens.
So the sun could actually come in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to say, Karen, too, you brought up something, and I wanted to just give a shout out to our team because we've been really came down on them about being compliant, and our team has stepped up. I want to say, you guys are rocking it, I have to say. And it's been difficult. A lot of these people, you know, I was saying when we came in, we didn't have stories. So we shared excitement. We shared the possibilities. But people have kind of lived on their stories. And so, but everybody has stepped up. They've gone back to their social media pages. You know what? I said, listen, we need to police each other. And it's really important in this time. You know, we all kind of stepped back at a time and said, well, everybody's doing it. We're all stepping up and saying, hey, this person is not being compliant. And it's okay, is what we said, is because it's putting our company, it's putting our livelihood at risk. These people that are just out there doing it. And, you know, Foster and I, we did a Zoom, a training last week. I will post the link. It's on our YouTube page, but it was about being compliant in the good times and the bad times. And it was really helpful to people because we have so much that we can say, and our team has really gotten it. And again, on the Charge Up call this morning, we talked again a little bit more about it. And our team is just talking, guys. As Karen said, please. I don't know, Karen, I see a lot of good things with our company. Our people are really stepping up. Our other companies, I know some other companies are getting into trouble, right? They are.
They're being silly.
They are. Mm-hmm.
They are not being good corporate citizens. Yeah. They are being irresponsible with the stewardship that they've been asked to be responsible for. You know, and that's not just a company, right? That's just people. People that get overzealous about something that they're excited about. And again, good fortune, bad fortune, maybe good, maybe bad kind of a comment. But, you know, the simplest thing that I would draw your attention to is literally right there, right? It's just the back of the bottle. Yeah. We have safety studies. We have ASEA classification documents. We have the TART lab study. Could you quote anything from that material? Absolutely. That's compliant information. It's powerful information. And what I am finding is that people get into a compliance situation because they make a claim, they make a statement. But if you will think about turning that into a question, right? So instead of your post being a big giant blue bottle of ASEA, right, the front or the back or whatever it is, because it's so awesome. And I get it, right? I totally get it. Been drinking this thing for 10 years. You know, how interesting is it to create curiosity with a question rather than a statement? Have you ever felt run down and like you just couldn't get ahead with your health? Just a simple statement. And if somebody, you know, if you're using Facebook or Instagram or anything, you know, if somebody PMs you at that, you know, say for more information, you know, I felt the same way. I found, you know, PM me for more information or something like that. But when you're creating a curiosity with questions instead of claims, you're going to remain more compliant than you think, right? It's a lot easier to get out of bounds when you make a claim statement about what someone can expect. And to your point, Terry, I've actually, one of the things that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is I've been jumping on industry calls led by organizations like Success Partners, GoPro, some other vendors, Direct Selling News Association. And I've been on these calls where they've got lots of, you know, senior executives from network marketing companies all over the world. And we're all talking about and sharing what we need to be doing to protect ourselves as not an individual, but ourselves as an industry. Because we know today more than ever the unintended consequences of everybody being home, businesses closing temporarily, layoffs, the economic opportunity that we have with our industry is now going to be more valuable than ever before. And it's not profiting on, you know, people that are in a position to be vulnerable. It's offering them a way out. It's offering them hope right now. And so on all of these calls, we're not competitors. We're not each other's competition. We're partners because we have to protect our space. And the FTC specifically, just like any company, is out there in the social media public space. Bloggers, vloggers, IGTVers, Facebookers, you know, these big, huge Facebook groups. And I'll say this as well. It's not protected if it's in a closed group.
Can you talk about that?
I can. Closed groups don't keep you from illegal content, right? And I apologize, but this is the most profound example I can give you. From a regulatory standpoint, would you believe someone should be protected from sharing child pornography in a closed group on Facebook?
Wow.
That's a bam.
Wow.
Bam. Good for you. You're right.
Closed groups are closed groups. They are not protected groups. They are not protected from the FDA. They are not protected from the Federal Trade Commission. They are not protected from authorities. They are simply an online resource that needs to have an invitation, period. The content of those closed pages is still subject to laws. So I share that. And I know it's so somber, but look, like Terry just said, it's the fastest way to describe and illustrate that just because something is by invitation only does not make it compliant or protected. So think about what you're saying, how you're talking, the statements that you're making, because again, going back to these calls that I've been on lately, I don't have my notes in front of me and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe in the last 3 weeks, there have been 3 fairly recognizable network marketing organizations that have had some significant fines dished out to them by the regulatory agencies in their areas because of online claims, product claims that are specifically related to COVID-19 or to a specific issue with the whatever's happening, right? Some specific product issue. So enough said. You can keep your stuff in closed groups. That's totally fine. But it's always got to be compliant.
Yep.
And curiosity instead of creating an expectation that might not be fulfilled.
Awesome. Awesome. And like I said, go watch the training, guys. I put the link there. If you haven't, there's a lot of things you can say. And immune function is one of them. And everybody's looking for a better immune system right now. So Foster kind of talks about the things that we can say. Cellular communication. We need the cells to be healthy and talking. So again, there's a lot of things that people are looking for. Cellular health, better immune. And we don't ever have to name any kind of medical condition or virus, because that's not what it's about. It's about making our bodies better and healthier and stronger.
Let's make proper messaging go viral, Karen.
I love it. Everybody on this call, thank you, Terry and Foster. Thank you for everybody who has taken that comment seriously over the last several weeks and before. Thank you for taking compliance to the forefront of your thoughts to protect this incredible opportunity that we have that is absolutely poised right now. When you think about everything that the company has done over the last several weeks in response to protecting our ASEA family inside the corporate office, outside the corporate office, the fact that we've got, several months of products stocked in multiple warehouses around the world. The fact that, we have taken into account, employee needs for extra personal time off and set up an opportunity inside the company for employees to donate PTO to each other. There's so much leniency as far as that is concerned. But everything that we're doing right now to reinforce the stability. I hope that everyone has seen the video that Chuck, Tyler, and Jerem did. As we were sitting down talking through talking points and things that we knew were really on everyone's mind right then. Chuck, of course, being my rock, right? It was right as the stock market is starting to crash, right? People are just losing money hand over fist. Everyone's sending out emails from their financial companies that, businesses are closing down and stock markets is crashing and this kind of a thing. How amazing is it to know that the organization that you're aligned with right now has no long-term debt? We're privately held. We're not beholden to stockholders who may dump stock and crash those prices and hurt us as an organization. We have plenty of money in cash in our reserves, right? This is a very sound company. And in my 25 years in network marketing, this being my third organization, not anything negative against any other company out there. I'm sure there's a lot of companies that are in a similar position or doing really, really well, but I want to be here. I want to be with this group of people. I want to be on this management team. I want to work with our ASEA family because I know that there's a quote that I have in my office, and it's by Publius Sirius, and it says, "Anyone can hold the helm when the sea is calm."
Mm-hmm. Great quote.
That's good.
Yeah. So I hope that you are sensing what we're all sensing inside the office, which is we have the right people holding the helm during rough seas.
Yay.
I think that you should be very, very secure in this organization, in your future legacy opportunities with this organization. You should not be concerned with things that are outside of your control, because we're going to do everything we can to be prepared every way that we can. We've had 3 record-breaking sales weeks in either global or either specific markets. So things are good. And I always feel like somebody's going to judge me for saying that because we're all stuck in our houses. And there have been really, sad, hard things that people are going through right now. losing loved ones, losing jobs, you know, family. There's been a lot of trauma. But let's focus on what we do control and how we respond to what may be good or bad fortune.
Awesome.
Wow. Can't thank you enough, Karen.
Yeah. That, I think, you know, I've kind of been passing your message along, Karen, but they needed to hear it from you. They needed to hear it, you know, right from corporate's mouth. And so thank you guys. And you got a lot of thank yous out there. Everybody is so appreciative and loves you, as we all do. So thank you for being on our call. And just before we hang up, I just real fast want to just give just 3 recognitions here. Where are we? Melissa Weber, number 6 on the specialty emerging leaders for this week.
Go, Melissa.
There
Another
you
one.
go, Melissa.
Yeah. And Jessica Bushin, she went from associate to director 700. Yay.
Wow, good job. Good job.
Yeah. And Jan Valdez went from director to director 300. So
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you.
congratulations.
Even in adversity,
guys.
people are excelling. It's very exciting.
They are. Well,
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. We just had a brand new triple diamond advance in Canada. We had a brand new diamond advance in Texas, all in the last 2 weeks. So,
So wonderful.
but your personal rank advancement, your personal journey, number 1, should never be compared to someone else's. But number 2, should always be celebrated for what it is. And thank you, Terry, for putting recognition on this call, and especially for letting me be part of that. Congratulations to each and every one of you. This is, you know, an interesting time that has a lot of unintended consequences, but that doesn't mean they're negative.
exactly. I think, you know, this is a great time. You know, people always say they don't have enough time. I don't have enough time with their jobs and to do their ASEA. Well, we have the time. So let's make the most of it. Let's rock and roll. People need these products, every one of them, and people need this opportunity. I will say that 2 of our daughters, one was fired and one was laid off. So it's impacting us. It's hard. And so it's not just us. Everybody needs this. So get out, guys. Take that time, as Karen said, make your, you know, schedule your life and have that routine and get up and make the most of it and make your bed and take your shower and then get to work.
And get dressed.
And get dressed.
Paul Tyra said he's not doing any of it.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Karen. We
Karen.
really
Can't thank you
appreciate
enough.
you for taking time. We love you. We appreciate you. Everybody on this call is thanking you. Again, mwah. Everybody have a great week. We are here to help you. If you're on our team, just reach out. We're here to help. And if you're not, reach out to your Diamond Upline, because I guarantee they're there to help. Thanks, Karen. Thank you. We love you. We love
Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
Okay,
Take care.
good.
Bye,
Thanks all for being here.
everyone.
Be safe.